Hey, hello and welcome. This is intro to Ford Capri Mk1 facelift. It's going to be a Cologne kitted V6 2.9 with some fancy carbs and stuff when it's done. Just this, literally at the start of the project. At the moment it's a Portuguese car, we're in Portugal. It's a 16 GT at the moment. It's in pretty good shape other than the A-pillars, as you can probably see, and the floors. The car is going to live in England, so we're going to convert it to right-hand drive. We've got a complete new bulkhead from Express. The car, as I say, is in pretty good nick, but it's just, you know, the areas where they go, they go. So we've got new floors, we've got new A-pillars, we've got new inner and outer sills, and we got a new bulkhead. Being a Portuguese car, it's an export shell, so it's got the strengthening on the tops. It's probably going to need a cross member as well by the looks of it, and maybe even a valance when we get into it. You know what they're like. So we're just cleaning it out. We got the panel to change it to right-hand drive scuttle as well. As so much steel's coming out of the car, it'd be daft not to do it to the UK spec as Mark wants it. So yeah, so this is the beginning of it. We're just cleaning it out. We're going to pressure wash it and then leave it to dry for the day, and then probably get it in tomorrow and start cutting the bulkhead out of it. We'll get the wiring out of it today as well, I expect. Okay, so this is there you go. See, that's a traditional Portuguese for you. So this is day 2 on Mk1. You see Carlos is doing the paintwork on the top. He's absolutely ecstatic to be working on such a quality vehicle. He can hardly control his excitement. He's going to repair the barn dance that's been held on the roof, but it's not rusty, so that's all good. However, other parts of it are very. But we've cut the bulkhead out. As you can see, we've got the new one from Express there. And the best way to do these, I found, whether you convert in left-hand drive to right-hand drive or just replacing rusty, just cut the inner section out, make sure that the car is supported equally. So we got it on blocks, and then behind we got it on axle stands, so that you limit the amount of flex. Carlos just can't contain himself there. Look. So you limit the amount of flex. And the car stays in one place. And they're pretty strong anyway. I mean, it's so rusty, it's not going to make that much of a difference if you're cutting it out, but you know, safety's always better, and without creating any problems in the future. When you've cut the inner out, cut the outer, the welds out here, the outer sections I should say. So just run a slip down, but try to be careful not to cut into the inner wing or the front chassis leg. Take it right down to the floor, or you know, what's left of the floor I should say, and then put the slits here, as you can see. Yeah, try not to go through too much, and then as you can see what Alex is doing over there, he's got a pair of water pump pliers, and it just twists off. Well, in theory you might need to use a bit of hammer and chisel, maybe a little bit more of a grinder, but it gives you a good surface to clean up afterwards, because it takes off the bulkhead, you know, what's left of the old bulkhead panel. So yeah, we're getting on there today, and hopefully maybe not welded in, but certainly in place by the end of the day, ready to be welded in. The new panel should be. We've got the bulkhead pretty much in. We've had a few days of rain, and I got other projects in the workshop at the moment, so it hasn't been able to go inside. So yeah, so we got the new bulkhead welded in today after the rain had stopped. It's drilled and plugged. I do like to spot weld stuff in, but with this particular project, I think plug-in MIGing is better. We are seam welding a lot of it. I say Mark wants it nice strong shell, so as you can see, we'll just squeeze in there. So yeah, you can see it's all seam welded. and there. We plug welded at the top. It's pretty much without problems there. So yeah, so it's coming on. It's just it takes a little bit of time, obviously, and as I say, because we've had the rain, it's taking a little bit longer, but yeah, we're getting there. So as soon as that's welded in, I just drop it back on the floor, and then it'll go into the workshop, and we'll be able to crack on a bit quicker with it then. And we've got the bulkhead welded in, mostly. We're going to finish the welding. There's just a little bit on the front chassis legs to do, but it's now in the workshop. Started to cut the floor out. It's not too bad. The chassis legs are good. It's just the floors are just, well, there they are. So the next thing is we're going to get all the floor on the driver's, or the new driver's side, offside I should say, cut out. We've got the new panel to go in there. Again, we're going to drill it and plug weld it from the top, and then seam weld it from the bottom when the car is on the body roller, just to give it extra strength. Once the floors are in, or the floor is in this side, I'm taking this center section out for two reasons. One, obviously you can't put the floor in unless you cut the floor, and we don't want to do that. We want the whole thing new. So yeah, drill the spot welds out on the areas it doesn't need repairing. I'm going to have to do a couple of repairs there, and one the other side. So when the floor's in and the repairs in, this is in, we'll cut the inner and outer sill from this side. Then we'll repeat the process on the other side. So once both floors are in, this can then go back down, this supporting section. And yeah, it should be a lot less holy. As you can see, there's some quite extensive rust over there. I've got to rebuild the bottom of the inner A-pillar, but it's nothing too stressy. Just usually follow the form of the inner sill, just in a bit so that the inner sill fits over it. We've got to take the dash support out, because obviously it's left-hand drive, and cut the scuttle, but we want to get the floor sections done first for strength reasons. And then we've got the loom and fuse box and the steering column support to put in from a right-hand drive car, which I've got some panels upstairs. So it's coming on. It's scary in places, but it was nothing that we didn't expect really. Like I say, when you've got, you know, strut tops as good as this, we've started bare metal in the engine bay. You know, the thing is with Portuguese cars that, yeah, they do rust, but nothing like what I've seen 20 years ago that I was repairing on English Mark 1s. So yeah, it doesn't really scare me too much. But yeah, so there we go, we're coming on, getting there, and hopefully next time I update you, this shall have a floor in this side. Back at it after a couple of days because the welder exploded, but I've got a new Lincoln electric best, and it's very good. As you can see, the welds are absolutely superb, so I'm very happy with that. We've drilled and plug welded the front chassis leg in to the floor. Obviously the floor's been welded and the chassis leg's now attached to it to give it some strength. Attached to the bulkhead at the front, lovely nice strong seam weld down there. I braced it because obviously the inner and outer sill are off now, just to, you know, probably been alright, but better safe than sorry. So yeah, we're just cutting the what's left of the inner sill out. It's actually not too bad. It's only like the certain section, like the reinforcing piece here for instance. Usually when the inner sills go, these are knackered as well, but there's nothing wrong with that really, which is good. The rust in Portugal for these Capris, well, from what I've seen so far, seems to stay very localized, which is obviously a bit of a godsend. So yeah, so this is where we're at now. So hopefully this afternoon we'll get the inner sill in place, maybe some welding done to it as well. Then the outer sill, and then I can probably put the A-pillar on. So yeah, we're just sort of making up as we go along, pretty much, just, you know, as you do. Yeah, so we got the floor welded in, and yeah, that's all very good and stuff, and yeah, nicely seen welded. And we've got the inner sill in. Now it's all the cack has been cut out. There are a couple of little plates I need to fabricate, like on there, because that was all holy and stuff, and I've got to put a little piece there. But yeah, the support for the seat belt, probably won't be using it because I think it's having harnesses, but you know, it's there. And then rebuilt the support at the bottom of the A-pillar. The inner sill has been seamed along, if you can see it. No, there you go. Yeah, so it's been seamed all the way along to give this floor and inner sill section some strength. You can see nice penetration all the way along, and we all like a good bit of penetration. With the outer sill, obviously it's a little bit daft to seam weld it, because you just get distortion, and yeah, by the time you grind all the weld down it just look crap. So I'm going to plug weld it, so drill maybe, I don't know, 7-8 holes in the bottom and 5-6 in the top, and plug weld it to there, and then grind them back, and then I'll get my spot welder and spot weld it, so it, as far as anyone's concerned to look at it, it's going to look pretty like as the good Ford intended. Next, probably going to tomorrow tackle the A-pillar, because as you can see that's pretty knackered, and tub the arch. Now this is having a Cologne kit on it, and I'll go through a bit more of what I do. I built quite a few of these, and the X-Pack Mark 2s and 3s, and there's a good way of doing it, well, it works for me anyway, to stop the kit cracking or anything, but we'll come across that a little later in the project. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you an update. So yeah, the sill will be going on this afternoon, after I fabricated them little plates up, and yeah, and I'll update you as soon as that's on and we start doing the A-pillar, I suppose. Yeah, so I'll probably cut the A-pillar out tomorrow, the old section, leave the inner A-pillar section there. Got the new express steel panel skin to go on it. It's probably half a day doing that, and then I'll probably start to tub out the arches, so I'll update tomorrow when I start cutting this nonsense about. Alrighty Babs, welcome to another update on Mark's Capri, and a lovely sunny day in Portugal. 32 degrees today for all of you watching in the UK. Read it and weep. We've done some repairs to the front of the bonnet, and Carlos is getting it flat, and it's going to be black, so it's got to be pretty good. As mentioned in the previous update, we're putting the A-pillar in. The sills all on, I think I mentioned that, but yeah, we put the A-pillar in. It's spotted and seamed on the inside and a few plug welds on the outside. It's a bit of an overkill, but you know, rather have it like that than it falling off. Just like to take a minute to thank the blind 5-year-old epileptic child that made the panel, because the fit wasn't particularly good, but with a bit of persuasion we got there. So that's the A-pillar in. There's a few little repairs on the top of the sill there just to make good. They don't want any rust in it at all, really. Well, we don't want any rust in it, which is why we're doing all this. So I've started to cut the arch ready for the kit to go in. I mentioned before, this is the way I do it. Whether you agree with me or not, it's entirely up to you, but it's just the way I do it, and I'll explain why. So you cut the outer arch out, which obviously this was somewhat broken, and then what I do is prepare the inside. Just grind out any surface or whatever. Thankfully the inside's pretty good, but I've seen people cut them out right up here and stuff all about, and it's just, no, and the front wings as well, and it's not a good way to go. I mean, this is having full fiberglass wings, so it doesn't really affect this. But I mean, I've seen people put X-Pack kits on, and they've cut like the front wings up to here or wherever the kit's going to fit, and it just, that's just, there's no strength there with it. And I'll show you why later on in the updates when we come to put the back wing on, which is here. I'll show you why I do it the way I do, but initially, to give it some strength, so we've cut the arch out, we've trimmed the inner arch to good steel, and then what I do is cut it, so I'll do a bit now. We just cut it like that, and then bend. Obviously, I've got to clean that up a bit better, and then we bend it up, and then weld it. Now this keeps the outer panel, and the inner panel, but mainly the outer panel, rigid, so it stops flex, because obviously if you put in a fiberglass kit on, you've got to put body filler over the top of it. And I've seen it from Ford, even the original Ford cars, which I know a lot of you think that they're Rolls Royces hand built, but they're not. But where the rivets are, you've seen it crack all the way along. So this gives the outer panel some good strength, and obviously it gets rid of any rust, which is the main thing with any of these old cars. So that's sort of where we're at the moment. I'm doing this for today. I've got a lot of welds to grind down, where some of the plug welding's been done, and then we're going to, what's next? Probably I'm going to turn it round and we'll do the same as what we've done on this side. So the updates will probably be a little bit less on the other side, because it's just basically the same process as what we've done here. And we're prepping the doors and the boot today. The usual cack in the corner. Someone's repaired it with a gasless MiG-50 or whatever they are, and it just looks, well, it's repairable. The rest of the doors, as I say, thankfully the rust in Portugal seems to stay pretty localized. So I mean that's the worst bit of the door. So we're going to cut this out and fabricate a piece, so it's rust free. And Alex is preparing the other door over there. So so as soon as anything exciting happens, I'll update you again. So cheerio from Portugal.